Today I will be informing you on the traditional Nigerian wedding. The traditional Nigerian wedding has been a tradition that goes down from every Nigerian from birth to the day of their death. It's actually quite funny. In the year 2013, it was right before my 18th birthday, and it was almost time for my Iluli Iyano, which is the dance of manhood you do when you're 18. Typically, as a Nigerian male, when you do your dance of manhood, you do it with a female, and that female is pretty much who you're going to marry. So where I lived, there was one other Nigerian family that lived around us, the Oya family. So my family decided that we should start hanging out. So we did. We got together. We started talking. My dad and their dad got together. My mom and their mom got together. They had a daughter named Lily, and we were the same age. So we started talking. We became friends and whatnot. And I eventually asked her, said, "Hey, will you be my partner for my dance?" She said, "Sure." Little did I know that was pretty much making her my wife. Obviously, I don't know her anymore. That didn't happen. So, as I break down the Nigerian wedding, I will begin by talking about the ceremony, or as it's formerly called, the Omakuuka. The ceremony is very similar to the traditional ceremony. As serious as it may be, it is full of a lot of practical jokes and fun. The ceremony begins at 5 a.m. in the morning with the bride's grandmother waking up the groom. Now, the way that he is woken up, it's not your typical, "Oh, hey, it's time to go." The grandmother actually will go up to the groom with a mango. A mango is a very juicy fruit, and what she will do, she will take the mango, cut it, and pour the juice on his face. That is his way of waking up, and that is actually a test to show if he wakes up in anger and fear, then obviously you can't protect the daughter, so the wedding's off. Let me say this before I continue my speech. If something goes wrong in Nigerian culture, the wedding's off. Anything, if your shoe's untied when you get up to the stage, wedding's off. Everything's off. So, then the bride is to be woken up. The bride is actually to be woken up with the groom's younger brother. If the groom does not have a younger brother, then the groom is to choose one of his male friends. And the purpose of that is to also test the bride. If the bride enjoys being waken up by a strange man, wedding's off. Obviously, because she enjoys other men. Who wants to marry that? Would you marry that? No, you wouldn't. After the ceremony, it is time for breakfast. The breakfast is time conversing between the two families. Most of the time, the bride will sit on the left side with the groom's family, and the groom will sit on the right side with the bride's family to introduce commingling between the families. Because before this point, none of the families know each other. They have never hung out with each other unless formally unknown. At the breakfast, the groom's family is to eat first because for whatever reason, men are more important in Nigerian culture. I'm not saying I completely agree, not saying I completely disagree. That's neither here or there. Once breakfast is served, it is time for the bride and groom to separate. Now, in Nigerian culture, which isn't the culture today, in those days, the groom and the bride will be separated at least 20 miles apart. 20 miles at the minimum. At the very bare minimum, they will not see each other until they got to the aisle. Due to today's society and that things are a little bit normal, they're usually like just in somebody else's house. I'll be at my house, my bride will be at her house. So the bride undergoes her preparation, her dressing. There is a light ceremony that is prepared. It's called the choosing of the future bride. The choosing of the future bride works like this, and follow me. Whoever is older between the groom and the bride, they will choose their eldest younger sibling. If the groom is older, he will choose his eldest but younger sister. If he does not have a sister, then he will choose his eldest but younger brother. If he does not have a brother, then he just chooses someone who's younger than him but is old enough to be married, and vice versa for the bride. Once that is chosen, and the priest or rabbi, whoever doing the wedding has confirmed it, time for the wedding. So the wedding will start. Here's where the practical jokes come in. There is a portion where when the bride is coming down the aisle, someone will attempt to trip her. Now what the bride must do is survive the trip and not fall. And this also has a meaning. It pretty much shows her quickness to protect herself and or family members. If she survives the trip, if she gets over it, the better. The cleaner the get over, the better it will be. So they're at the stage, they say their I do's and whatnot. Then it is the occasional jumping of the broom, which means you're jumping over your past trash and whatnot. After the ceremony, it is time for the reception, the romalu. The reception is very tricky. The reception has 3 compartments: the show, the feast, and the fire. The show in older times used to be an actual fight between the 2 oldest males of each family to the death. Obviously, that doesn't go on anymore. Now they usually play a sport, and being Nigerian, it's mainly soccer. I'll never opt for it. Regardless, after the show, all the musicians from each family, no matter what instrument, no matter if someone is up there playing the spoons, all come collectively together and play beautiful music for both families. Both families must enjoy the music for the wedding to continue. If one member from one family does not enjoy the music, and a musician does not change the music without being notified, as you guessed it, the wedding's off, even though the wedding's over. After the show, it is time to eat. Same thing as breakfast, but a little different. Every young daughter, ages 7 and up, is to prepare food, is to prepare the table. Now, there are 4 animals that Nigerians typically eat, and each animal is to be brought to the table by each age group. The chicken is for ages 10 to 20, being that the chicken is it's very simple to prepare. Chicken's easy to cook, so therefore it's easier. The second group is the cow, ages 30 to 40. 30 to 40. Because it's a little bit more difficult, it takes a little bit more. Third is the goat. The goat's pretty hard to prepare, so they say that for the 30 to 40-year-olds. Now the most difficult and the most tedious is the lamb. And they save the lamb for ages 50 and above because they are seasoned, they're patient, they know what they're doing, and they don't mind getting their hands a little dirty. After the feast, the best part of the wedding, the most passionate, the most emotional, just the best part of the wedding is the fire. There is an enormous fire created. There's a circle around the fire. The bride and groom are standing in the circle. They're standing hand in hand. And they are to get as close to this fire as they can possibly bear. And the closer they get, the stronger the wedding is. My parents, personally, they got within 5 feet of it. They're divorced. Ha. But the purpose of the fire is to show strength between the groom and the bride. Yes, the man is supposed to be strong, but also a strong woman in a Nigerian family. It just says something about their family. A strong father means strong sons. A strong mother means strong daughters. A strong father and mother means a strong family. In the Nigerian culture, a professor named Maurice Mutombo, an African-American studies professor at Howard University, once said, "Culture is nothing to strengthen bone," which simply means without the culture, without following the steps of the forefathers of Nigerian culture, strength is nothing. Without going through the proper steps of the reception, the show, the fire, and the show, the fire, and the feast, what is there? Without following the steps that it takes to specifically certify your love for your loved one, to go through all the steps, to go through the practical jokes, to being woken up by an 87-year-old black woman pouring mango juice in your face, to be able to survive that and prove your love, to be able to stand next to a blazing fire that could potentially kill you if you stumble, just to show your love for a Nigerian woman. Whew. Ladies, if you find a Nigerian guy who wants to stand for fire for you, you better marry that guy. Marry him, marry him, marry him. That's all I simply have to say. I have chosen this topic to inform all of you, because most of you will probably be married. Most people don't know about other cultures in marriage. They know just the regular Roman Catholic one, or if you're Creole, you know about the Creole type one. I chose to express this information to you, to inform you, to let you know, to enlighten you, and maybe even if you're not Nigerian, you might want to go through a Nigerian type wedding. And thank you for the beautiful white man.